Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. There are lots of fears in this world, and this is one that many of us don't typically talk about. Yes, people have a fear of spiders, snakes, things like that. Fear of losing your hair. A lot of us think about that, like, oh my God, what if? And of course, sometimes we have to undergo certain types of treatments medically, and there is some hair loss. A lot of times it does come back. But what can we do to support our hair? What should we be taking? What should we be eating? A lot of misconceptions there. And that is where we're going to start today with a trichologist. That's a technical fancy term for somebody like her that studies and actually remedies hair loss. She owns a great business called Hair Loss Center, New Jersey, and she's back with us. So great to have LaRonne Quarles Wright on the program. How you doing today?
I am fine, sir. How are you? How was your holiday?
It was good, very quiet, but that's good. I'm fine with that. How about you?
I didn't do anything myself. I was actually in here working. I had clients to prepare for because I'm a non-surgical hair replacement specialist and educator. So I had clients today. And of course, everyone took off today and Christmas Eve. So I was in here just getting hair systems ready for clients that came in today. That's why I forgot. I was so frazzled. I just sat down.
Wow. You don't stop.
Sorry. Well, with hair loss, before we get into our topic of conversation, every client can't be remedied and can't be helped. So when I can't help them, I have the option of providing all sorts of hair replacement. So that's what I
Wow.
was in here doing today since 7 a.m.
Wow. And I want to get to the hair replacement part in a little bit, but
Hmm.
let's be proactive and look at what can be done to support our hair. A lot of times I hear, from friends who are women, like, oh, my hair's starting to thin right here and this, that, and the other. As we talked about last time, stress is a big thing. Stress is huge. But short of that, what supplements should we be taking? I hear biotin, in a vitamin with your vitamins is important, but is that marketing? I don't know. What should we be taking?
Well, here's how I feel about nutritional supplements. I remember watching, uh, I'm not even going to mention the news outlet that I was listening to, and I heard a physician himself say, "Oh, you don't need to take supplements. You don't need to take supplements." And I thought I was blown away by that. I believe everyone needs to take supplements because as a human, things break down, things happen, and everyone understands the idea of, oh, if I am low in iron, I start feeling lethargic and tired because I don't have enough hemoglobin to carry oxygen through the body. That's like number one, the biggest mineral that
Mm,
anyone has heard about as far as hair growth. I've had tons of clients who say, I'm anemic, I'm anemic. So for that physician to say, I don't need to take supplements,
mm.
everyone's opinion, because it's not etched in stone. Some people don't believe you should. Some people think you should. I myself am someone that thinks you should. I market all sorts of products. I keep Nutrafol here. Nutrafol is number one. It's a really big seller made by a dermatologist. And even a dermatologist understands that you need nutrients. So here's my take on what it is that we need. Everybody's needs are different, and especially as we age, when my clients come in for a full scale workup or consultation, I do what's called a bioscan. I have Zytoscans, bioscans. I use blood tests to interpret what it is that you need, and I only give my clients what they need. So if you, for instance, came in and your scans came up and we found that you had an assortment of different things that you needed to get back on balance, some things that may show up are you need iron, you need selenium, you need potassium, you need calcium. So I like to start there by saying, as a rule, I like to only give clients what they need. But if you were to start a regimen of just good, healthy living to improve your quality of life, because everyone's body gets off balance. There's not a human on earth who's 100%
Mm.
on target with everything. Like I was talking about on our last time together, I believe everyone needs a daily supplement. I always recommend a water-based supplement because if anyone has ever heard of a term called bedpan bullets, a lot of my clients have gone to get scans, abdominal cavity scans, and they bring them in. And I say, if your doctor or your radiologist tech allows you to bring the scans and bring them so I can show you what's lodged in your colon. In the ascending, descending, and transverse colon are nothing but undigested pills and tablets.
What?
So, yes, because like I was speaking about in our last podcast, the upper GI is very tricky. If you are a certain blood type, you don't have the stomach acid to digest all types of foods. So as we age, we need different things to help us digest different proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Not everybody can digest it. So anyway, as daily supplements, I like to make sure that my clients get water-based supplements. Anything that's liquid, sublingual, that you can put into your mouth and it subsequently is in the bloodstream within 15 to 30 minutes without having to be broken down, I'm all for it. So
Mm.
I only like to give water-based supplements because, like I stated earlier, the human body declines with age. Sadly enough, we may get more wisdom here, but our stomach doesn't know that we're having more wisdom here. Our stomach does not work as well as we age. So it's mind blowing that people have this idea that they can take these big horse pills and that they actually are digesting it. They really aren't.
Oh, whoa. Oh my gosh. Um,
Yeah.
eye opener here.
Hmm.
Um, Never even thought that there could be pills just hanging out in your colon.
Yes.
I did hear, this is what I've heard, and I want your feedback
Hmm.
on it.
Yes.
That when you take something that goes through your system,
Hmm.
you're only getting 60 about 60% of it. So you may be taking, go hypothetical. I'm taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. You're really only getting 60% of that. And I
Yes.
never even thought of taking these supplements, vitamins, whatever, in a tincture, let's say under the
Yes.
tongue.
Yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And for those people that say you don't need to take anything or you shouldn't need to take anything.
Hmm.
And we've heard that. Well, if you eat right, but then this is, almost 2025. It's not like it was 30 years ago. Our food supply is compromised, is tainted. It is what we're eating is not really what we think we're eating because of all the pesticides, all the chemicals, all everything that's going on. So I'm right there with you that
Yeah.
we need to take something to support us because even in a best case situation, yeah, and you have the perfect food pyramid and you're eating the right amount of protein and vegetables, all of that. You really probably not. So you need to be proactive with your health.
Yes.
So eye opener though. Wow. Like
Yeah.
I want to go on Amazon right now and find tinctures instead of taking pills. Um,
Yeah.
are there any, and we're not selling anything here, but brands that that
Mhm.
that that you're more comfortable with in your experience?
I am a big supporter of once I had attended a conference and I was alerted to the fact that isotonics by Market America, I know that is it's a one of the pyramid type companies. I know it is, but
Hmm.
no one likes them. But I joined the company because they have water based supplements. They're called isotonic because they have the same weight as blood and saliva. So the body recognizes it. And when you take these products, they are essentially into your bloodstream, not even 30 minutes. You mix the powder with water and you just drink it.
But isn't that the same deal as taking a pill because it has to go through your system? Or are you saying because it's a liquid that
Mhm.
it's going to be metabolized faster and better?
Yes. Whereas, like I said, with a pill, there's no guarantee that anyone certain pills are like corn for people. you just will not digest it no matter how much you take.
I have a friend that says whenever
Yeah.
he eats corn, this is gross, but I think
Mhm.
it's funny. Whenever he
Yeah.
eats corn, he says he looks at the corn, the corn on the cob, whatever. He's like, "See you later." To your point, yeah, it
Yeah.
just goes right through, yeah,
Hmm.
and not digested.
Yeah.
Wow,
So with the isotonics, it literally goes right into your bloodstream because it's already a liquid that your body recognizes at the same weight as blood and saliva. So it's going to go into your bloodstream. You don't have to worry about it not digesting because it's already a liquid.
got it. Okay, so we
Mhm.
need to whatever it is, a reputable brand that sells water
Yeah.
soluble supplements.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Sir.
Okay.
I was going to say yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And what are what are the what should we be taking? How do we decide? How do we pick?
Like I shared with you earlier, I like to make sure I scan everyone so you're not taking something needlessly because I have heard millions of times that some vitamins are just expensive vitamins because as soon as you take it, you're excreting it right out if you're digesting it at all. So I only like to give clients what they need. So when my clients come in for a scan, I'm only giving you what your body needs. If you have to take something, we with the isotonics line, they do have an over 50 multi. They do have a basic multi. So even if you're just at least taking a basic multi, that's half the battle.
Hmm. When you
But
say you
my
scan,
yes,
what's a scan?
I will put it like this. When I went to one of our seminars a few years ago, they kind of told us to let the public know that it's a galvanic skin response system. And a galvanic skin response system is kind of like what you use similar to a lie detector. When they hook all those things up on you, they're getting a resonance reading from you to determine what things your body is letting the computer know that you need that's coming up on the alert that needs to be fixed and handled right now. So of course, not every need is going to show up immediately, but um,
Gotcha.
high targeted items like your cholesterol, uh, blood pressure, left ventricle issues, digestive issues. Like some things will come up and they'll show up in red lights like this needs to be fixed immediately. It's just an electrical reading. That's what it is. And more often than not, when I perform these here in my clinic, my clients will say, "Oh yeah, I did have that. Oh yeah, I am going through this." So the clients,
Hmm.
they understand that we're not pulling this out of the sky. They're usually briefed of these maladies that they have already.
Sure.
So it's called a galvanic skin response system. Galvanic.
There's so much stuff out there that many
Hmm.
of us are unaware of, or we look at it and say, "Man, that can't be true." Like muscle testing. Have you heard of
Yes,
muscle
yes,
testing?
yes.
Right?
I have some of my
Yeah.
practitioners use that. Hmm.
Yeah, because your body won't lie. So when you're
Yes.
muscle tested, and there's many different ways to do it. Some of them are as simple as even going like this and pulling how much can you pull through if you say
Yes.
a true statement or a false statement. If it's a true statement,
Hmm.
you can't break the chain. If it's a false, you start feeling it slip because this is not allowing you to lie. and
Yes.
your
Yes.
body won't lie. So when the practitioner asks a question, your body's going to give the answer. So same thing
Hmm.
with the skin testing.
Yes.
Interesting. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
What how about okay, let's look personally here. Um,
Yes.
I'm sure you've done it on yourself.
Yes.
What have you found that you've needed? Or like maybe a
Ooh,
surprise.
nothing. Nothing is news to me. Some of the things that I saw on my scan, I show in turn to the clients that arrive because a lot of them are overwhelmed when they come. They're surprised when they come. They didn't know that they needed quite so much.
Mm,
They didn't know, however, they will have problems with their hair and scalp. And then they'll arrive in the chair and I'll say, "This is why you're having the problems with your hair and scalp because you need so many items." What did I have? I had acid um, acidosis issues. I had iron issues. I've
mm,
always had upper GI issues because I'm a type AB, like we discussed before. I've always had lower GI issues. I was when I did my last scan, I was dehydrated. So
Wow.
just because I'm a practitioner doesn't mean things don't go wrong with me as well.
Sure.
I am constantly taking probiotics and liquid minerals and things, but every day is a new day. You have to stay on top of yourself. Just because a doctor is a doctor, it doesn't mean they don't get sick as well. Just because we're a practitioner doesn't mean we don't need things as well. So my scan was very large, and I show it willingly to others to let them know I've had mine done too. They can look on my desk here, and I have like 10 different things. But I mean, I try to take care of myself, and people say to me all the time, "Oh, you don't look your age." I'm not trying to. I'm trying to go out as
Hmm.
best as I can.
Of course. Of course. And I'd take a guess and say 90% of this population is dehydrated. We don't
Yes,
just, we don't
yes,
we don't drink enough. We think we do, or
yeah,
we think I'm okay. You're probably far behind what you think you should be. And
yeah.
it's I learned last year through a blood test. I was low on vitamin D,
Hmm.
and they said that it was the lowest level they've ever seen in vitamin D. So
Wow.
look deeper into it. And I was unaware that it's not just the vitamin D. The vitamin D also allows the absorption of other vitamins. If you're low in vitamin D, you could feel a little lethargic, a little moody, brain foggy. And I was sort of feeling that. And I just got a prescription. Take one pill once a week. That was it. This is a year and a couple of months ago that I started
Hmm.
that. I took the pills for or the vitamin supplement for I don't know, maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
I just had labs last week. Perfectly fine, no problem. Yeah, and that was it.
Great, great,
Yeah.
great.
But I'm amazed, even just spike in the system, so to speak, that my vitamin D levels stayed up. It wasn't like went down, got to take more, and then it was perfectly fine after that. But the things
Yeah.
we don't realize, where does vitamin D come from? Of course, milk products. Don't want to overdo that. The sun, don't want to overdo that. So just even labs or even the skin testing that you do, um, it can point and answer a lot of questions, and we don't realize that how important it is.
Yes. Yes. And that vitamin D is very helpful because it is also a clue and an indicator in hair loss clients. 9 times out of 10, my ladies, when they come in, their vitamin D is low and they're
Wow.
having crownal or mid scalp and mid vertex hair loss. I'll always recommend,
Wow.
have you had your vitamin D levels checked? It's a
Wow.
big significant contributor.
But it's also interesting where somebody could have low vitamin D and a full thick head of hair and somebody not. Everybody's
Yeah,
different.
but everyone's different. Yes, I've
Hmm.
even had twins. They don't always go through the same thing.
Wow. You in your experience all this time doing what you do to help people, support people with hair loss and prevention, you must have seen a lot of things. You must, learned a lot of different stories from people, right?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Hmm. And I'm sure you've even come to some situations where you might not have even realized that, or that whatever they're going through could have been the culprit to their hair situation. Putting the two, yeah, stress, we'll put that over to the side because that's a big one.
Right.
And that's kind of a prevalent situation for many of us. But some of the other things, any odd things that you've come across that led to hair loss?
Well, I can't put my finger on any one, but I will
Hmm.
say,
Well, that says a lot
if
right
you,
there. That really does. That says a lot, that it's a culmination of many different things.
I will say this, in some of my holistic practitioner groups, we're always studying, we're always meeting, we're having yearly events just to further our knowledge. What we have been learning a lot is that in certain communities, there are different types of hair loss that we see in different communities. I will mention in African American community, there is a large degree of women that come in with scalp pain, and that usually precludes a special type of scarring alopecia called lichen planopilaris. And it's something that I see often in the salon. Sometimes it mimics male and female pattern baldness, but it's not quite the same. With lichen planopilaris, the skin is usually scarred. It's usually associated with a lot of scalp pain and inflammation, and it kind of looks very similar, but not the same. And it's what usually happens is people let it go and they let it go and they let it go for years, and it will just migrate and eradicate all of the hair follicles along with it, and just it'll take the hair
Wow.
out. And usually
Wow.
people, they don't mention it for 5, 10, 15 years, and by the time they reach us, sometimes it's nothing we can do.
So is it reasonable to think that they were feeling pain in their
Yes,
scalp and then
yes.
I guess didn't do anything about it?
Nothing. I hear this daily, daily, daily.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Mm. Well, that does go to say if you feel, something is off, do something
Hmm.
about it. If they came to you sooner,
Hmm.
you think you would have been able to help them or stave off maybe the hair loss or the degree of it.
Yes, I would like to think so. A lot of times we are our own worst enemy in the Black community. I apologize. I don't want to say it like that. But in the Black community, there are too many of us, myself included, as hairstylists. Of course, I have migrated to a different track. I started looking into trichology. When I began to learn, I stopped such harmful practices to my clients. But many of our clients, they don't shampoo their hair often, they don't listen to signals, they wear different braided and ornamented styles that stay in place for up to a month, 2 months at a time. And
Hmm.
with Black women, we want to get a style that we don't have to touch and it won't move. In the midst of wearing those styles that last for so long, you don't really realize that things are happening beneath the
Ah,
surface because you're not taking the hair down, you're not caring for it. The scalp is not getting any sunlight, it's not getting any vitamin D, it's not getting any oxygen, it's not getting lymphatic drainage because you're not going in to massage the scalp. So many things happen. And when this happens repeatedly, you take a style down, you go to the beauty salon, you get taken care of, you get it put back up in something. Over time, you don't even see it till you take it down and you want to wear an alternative look, and you're like, what happened to my hair? Well, it had been going through the progression all this time, and you just did not know it. Your hairstylist didn't know what it was. So they just gather it back up. They don't say anything because they don't want you to blame them. They just
wow.
sweep it back up. And the clients, they go and go and go, and then clients that they'll come in and they'll say, my hairstylist didn't even tell me that my hair was thinning and she couldn't do anything about it, she said it wouldn't grow back. And it often is a cycle, and I see droves and droves and droves of women with this condition.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Um, wow. Wow. And yeah, to your point, um, you see a lot of those hairstyles, low maintenance, stays in place, don't want to deal with it. And over a period of time, I mean, it's not getting the movement, the air, everything. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, so I would say yes, I would love to help all of these women, but first of all, for the teacher to appear, the student has to be ready. I can't mentally share with you that you need to make some changes if you're not really ready to hear it. Because
yep.
as long as there's a hairstylist that's able to fix it some kind of way and manage it so you don't see it, they're not going to deal with it until they're ready to deal with it. Usually, when they're ready to deal with it, I can't help them because it's an area beneath the sebaceous gland or right above it. It's called the infundibulum. Once that area has been eradicated by inflammation and those cytokines that I was telling you about, once that has
Wow.
ripped through it and it has burned that follicle out completely from the papilla to the top of the sebaceous gland, once it's burned out, that is it. The hair won't grow. So you have to work on it. When you start feeling the effects of the inflammation, you have to work on it. When you have scalp eruptions, scalp pustules, papules, acne, soreness, you have to work on it immediately. You can't delay. You can't wait. Just like your hand. If your hand's in pain, are you going to sit around and just be like, oh, I'll just deal with it in 5 years? No,
No.
it's
Wow.
the same. This is what people do. They just wait and wait and wait because there's something else they can do. Oh, I don't have to deal with it right now because there's something else I can do.
Right.
So if you don't deal with it, it will burn itself out. It's just like, last thing, I know I ramble. A diabetic, when they suffer the effects of inflammation and the blood doesn't flow to the extremities, like their toes and their fingers, what happens? It gets amputated. It's the same with the hair follicle.
Many of us don't want to face that we have a problem. So we
Yeah.
let it go. It'll get better. It'll get better. And then you learn to live with it, live with,
Yes.
inflammation, itchy scalp, things going on.
Exactly.
And it doesn't feel as bad as it did originally because you're used to it. But
Yes.
wow, eye opener there. It's your body telling you something. You gotta listen.
Yes.
You always say you gotta listen to your body.
And that is my phrase. I use that as a catchphrase all the time. It's amazing that you said that.
Yeah, it took me time to learn that. You can read it somewhere, somebody can tell you it, but until you start living it and then not listening to your body and then realizing, well, why did that go? Why did that go bad? Because, you put two and two together. Stress, of course, is one of them. So many of us,
Yes.
we learn to live with stress, but we don't realize what it's doing and also what it's doing down the road. Stress you're dealing with today, you might not deal with the after effects of that for years, possibly for years. You're located in New Jersey. Best way to find you, is it hairlosscenternj.com?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Wow.
it is.
Love talking with you. LaRonne, you know your stuff. And you're so humble about it. And you make it,
I'm trying.
you do. And you make it easy to understand. It can go kind of deep, but you're there to help. If anybody's got a question, you're like our go-to. And I get it. You might not live in New Jersey. You could live in Alabama. It doesn't matter where you are. You can hear these podcasts anywhere. You're the go-to for this. You are the expert at hair loss and prevention at the same time. Appreciate you being here today. Really do.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
And if we don't talk, Happy New Year.
Same to you. Thank you. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, first time I've said that this year. It feels kind of weird, but it's good. And we'll catch up soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.